founded in 1900?
1900.
So you've withstood 2 pandemics, 2 world wars, a housing bust, right? The dot-com bust, most recently a global pandemic. So you got to be reinventing yourself. And your headquarters caught fire and burned to the ground.
That's another crazy story.
Welcome to Bullhorns and Bullseyes, the podcast where precision meets promotion. I'm Tom Nixon.
And I'm Curtis Hayes.
We're thrilled to have you join us as we discuss the ever-evolving world of sales and marketing. Every week, Curtis and I bring our own specific experiences and expertise, along with a special guest who has stories to tell and lessons learned to share. We're here to help you with strategies that hit the mark and amplify the marketing. Before we kick off today's episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop. And if you find our discussions on target, leave us a review. Your feedback means a lot to us. Now get ready for insights, tips, and conversations that will up your marketing game. It's Bullhorns and Bullseyes with Curtis Hayes and Tom Nixon. Let's ride. Doug and Meghan, welcome to the first ever in-studio recording of Bullhorns and Bullseyes.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
The first ever. We'll see if it's the last ever as well. But Curtis, now we can see we're in the same room for the first time.
We are first time on camera.
True, yes.
We've been in the same room together before.
Yeah, but I mean for the podcast.
For the podcast.
I don't know if the camera can get, he's in full garb right now. We've got the boots on. Let's see the boots.
The boots, yep.
And the cowboy hat, so right on brand.
Looking good.
You're looking good, yeah. And we are live in studio at Oxium, the gold standard in IT. Thank you to the generous in-kind support from our friends at Oxium.
This is also where the BLTNT podcast is recorded.
Yeah, so we're in good company today.
We are. It's exciting.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about a couple different things. We're going to be talking about a legacy business that has lasted generations, celebrating 125 years this year, Mans Lumber at Home, as well as sort of how over the years the guard has changed and maybe how the marketing has evolved, because our audience and our bailiwick is marketing, and we've been partly along for the ride, and it's been exciting, and we want to share with our audience some of the things that you've learned and you're implemented. But first, Doug, president currently, you started in this business as a wee lad, I imagine?
I did. We all started, most Mans had started when they were 14, 15 years old, sweeping the warehouse and stacking lumber, making sure the wood was nice and straight. And, it was summer times where that was our jobs, and it was fun. We drove truck, did the whole 9 yards. But I'm 4th generation. I'm lucky enough now to be working with my children who are 5th generation. But I worked with my dad. I worked with my grandfather, and then unfortunately, I never knew my great grandfather, who was the founder back in 1900. Mm-hmm. And back then, it was horse and buggy and delivering coal.
Yeah.
And they said, "Hey, you got a horse and buggy. Could you deliver lumber?" So then we started a lumber yard. Wow. And they said, "Hey, you're delivering the lumber. Can you have the hardware and the paint?" And so then we got into other things. So we've evolved, and I think I look back then and I look at us now. We just keep evolving. I think you have to you have to recreate yourself very frequently to be successful.
Absolutely. And so if I'm doing my math correctly, everyone knows I'm an English major, but founded in 1900?
1900.
So you've withstood 2 pandemics, 2 world wars, a housing bust, right? The dot-com bust, most recently a global pandemic. So you got to be reinventing yourself. And your headquarters caught fire and burned to the ground.
They did. Well, that's another crazy story, is that it was 1975, and a guy didn't like the 2x4 he got. So he came back that night and burned our store down. And the ironic thing is, 2 years prior, he didn't like his haircut, and he burned the barbershop down.
Are you serious?
So,
wow.
I mean, ironic, funny, but the neat thing of that was, and it taught us a lot, is we burned down, and the next day, the community, you need an office, you need a desk, you want trucks. I mean, it was, and it's because we had given to the community. But it was like the worst time, but everyone came together and made us better and stronger. So, I mean, it teaches you a lesson.
I think that's what every pandemic and everything you just mentioned has done to
made us stronger.
It's made
great point.
The company stronger, better in some way.
Yep. And so 5th generation, Meghan Mans-Kurili, who heads up the marketing effort, you just brought into the world the 6th generation.
I did, yes. He is the first of the 6th generation born.
Oh,
yeah.
Great.
So I mean, if no one else is pregnant or anything, but
And Grandma and Grandpa love them.
yeah,
I bet.
fun.
And then you started in the business as a wee lass, I would imagine.
No, I didn't. When I was 16, I started babysitting, and I said, Dad, I want to work at Mans, but the family in babysitting is paying me $6 an hour more. And I said, can you match my pay? And he said, no. I said, okay, then I'm babysitting. So no, I did not start at Mans. And then when I got to college and I got another nannying job that paid me, and then I said, Dad, they're paying me this much. He wouldn't match it. So I said, I'm going to just keep nannying until I graduate. So I didn't start working at Mans until I graduated college. So at 22 years old, I started working there. And when I came into the business, I was like kind of rotational program where I was rotating through different departments. So I started, well, it just, everything happens. But I started shadowing around, and then I got thrown into the accounts receivable department because my colleague was going on maternity leave. Then Mans bought Dillman and Upton, and they needed some help with collection, so I stayed there for almost a year, and then I started doing facilitation, and then the lady who ran our marketing department gave her 2-week notice and said, I'm moving to North Carolina, and she had worked at Mans for over 20 years at that point. So within 2 weeks, I was thrown into marketing, and here I am.
So we heard off air why your dad got into marketing, and we'll keep that off air. So, but was it just need, or did you have an interest or a background in marketing that said, this is the hat I want to wear now?
I had an interest in it. I wasn't uninterested in it, but Erica, who had worked at Mans prior, she was a for-lifer. Like, she had been at Mans since she was 17 or 18 years old, and then she wasn't going to leave until she retired, and then her husband's job took them elsewhere. So I never really thought there was opportunity in it, just because I knew she would be there. But it was something I was always interested in. So
Meghan has a creative side of that, or go in the kitchen and bath, so she has a flair for that. And for us, I'm old school. Give me billboards, give me radios, give me flyers. Let's send out circulars to everyone home that no one looks at. I'm old school, and that's when I started. When I was 23, 24, I was the marketing person, and that's what we did. It was, you sent flyers and circulars to people's homes every week.
It was a lot simpler back then. I mean, that's when I got into this business. It was, where do you want to buy your ad, or which PR firm are you going to hire?
Right.
And now here we are, Curtis, in the year 2025, and the channels are endless, right? The audiences are fragmented, and you have more things at your disposal, which sounds great, but it's also more challenging. Yeah. You got to figure out where to spend a limited budget.
It is more challenging now, but the legacy marketing activities are kind of coming back because we want authenticity, we want tangible things. But the future was basically, as we came into the digital marketing side, tracking everything, spending money across various different channels. And I know that was one of the challenges you had, Meghan, when we first started talking a couple of years ago, is here was another company that you were paying that was spending money on advertising, but you didn't know what you were getting for it. So here it kind of feels like that money's going out into the void, similar to the print side of it, where hey, it's going to people's homes, but you don't know, is that ending up on the refrigerator that they're going to use it later, or is it getting thrown right into the trash? Yeah.
And one thing I should say is he's very into billboards and radio, which are wonderful, but he doesn't know anything about Facebook or Instagram. He thinks Facebook's called Face Page, and so he didn't even know you could market it through those things.
But I've embraced
those platforms. You have embraced it, and you're totally on board.
We've got great people. You got to bring in great partners, and great vendors, and we're lucky to have people like you helping us, and it's made us better. And I'm a believer now. And it's been nice.
Like, our primary focus has been prioritizing marketing channels that we can track, that are measurable. And we've really done this through performance-based marketing and lead generation initiatives since we started working with you.
She's speaking my language.
Yeah, I know. And not mine.
She said performance marketing.
I'm more old school like that. That's why we're called Bullhorns and Bullseyes, by the way, because the bullhorn is when you broadcast your message to the masses, and bullseyes are the things that you guys are talking about, which is tracking, targeting, right? And then you can now understand where that ad spend is going.
Exactly.
But old school, we started probably 24 years ago advertising Trex decking. We're one of the largest Trex deck distributors in the whole country. And we're really, people go, oh man, you're that Trex guy. But we started billboards and radio. And we've done a good job on it. And we've been consistent. And I think the one thing I've learned through all this, be consistent. And I think if you're consistent and you stay the course, you're found eventually. So if you're whimsical and you go everywhere, I don't think your message is heard. So it's been strong. And now you take what we did and with what you guys are doing and what Megan's doing, and you're like, yeah, this is really cool.
And and I think it is like my main thing was when I came in, I like to see where my money's going. And so Billboards Radio, we still do, and we love them, and we'll never get rid of them. But I wanted to know, like, every dollar we were spending, who was the person or what was the audience that it was attracting? And coming from someone that gets fed ads all the time and often clicks on them, I was like, this is something I can buy into, where I've never passed a billboard and like followed through with what was on the billboard. But whenever, like, I've bought many things off an ad on Instagram or Facebook, or clicked on a link and filled out a form. And so it was something that I thought would be beneficial to Mans, having multiple product categories and just consumers that we wanted to be able to follow through with. And
we're, you know what, it's tough because we have consumers that are in their 20s all the way to their 60s.
Yeah.
So everyone has a different.
Once you have a home,
right?
we can, we're there for all homeowners. So,
And I think I think the word is balance, because, like you said,
Yeah,
some of
it
the
is a
old school
balance.
tactics are coming back.
Yeah,
and
they are.
as you've demonstrated yourself, staying around for 125 years, you had to stay the course, but you had to evolve. And I think that's what we're seeing the smart brands do now, is a blend of traditional, blend of data, or new tools. So give us some specifics. What are some of the things you implemented first that maybe the prior generations did not?
yes, I think it would be lead generation was something we had never done, like through Instagram and Facebook, and then SEO and SEM and tracking. Like, we track every call that comes in and we convert it. We say if it was a lead or if it wasn't, and then that gets fed back into Google. So this was all stuff that was new to me that Curtis had taught us how to do, and how effective and efficient it is, and how your cost per lead can decrease, but your leads can increase, which has been like mind-blowing to see what Google and the algorithm can do once you start feeding it.
Right.
Yep.
You just have to feed it, and then it.
Exactly. Yeah. So Megan came to us and said, we're spending X per month and we have no idea what's happening with that money. It's just going out into the void of the internet. And so are there ways that we can start tracking what we're doing? And so that's what we implemented. And with Performance Max campaigns and demand gen campaigns and other things that Google has, and the conversion APIs also that Facebook has, we can inform the algorithms in real time what's happening.
Yeah.
So what was implemented in a sort of simpler sense, like Megan was saying, is as the leads come in, we've got a system where the sales team can provide feedback as to whether or not that was a good lead or a bad lead, and then that data is sent back to the tools. We've talked about this a lot on the podcast.
And
of those
what's
tools.
been really interesting about that is when we first started, we'd get calls that would come in that, like, maybe someone, like, a word would be millwork. And so someone would call about millwork, but it'd be like some exotic piece of wood from who knows where. And like, no, we don't have that. But as we've been feeding the algorithm, the leads that come in for millwork are stuff that we have in stock. Yes, exactly. Right. So it's interesting to see once you feed back into the system what you want, then
we're educating the system.
Yeah, we're really educating the system.
And that's where your cost per acquisition goes down, right?
Right.
Because you're getting more quality leads, and you're not spending on waste. That's one of the problems with billboards and TV and radio, is you're paying for the waste. Right? So, but at the same time, you can't achieve mass recognition or brand awareness by targeting just specific people. So it's a blend of the both.
Right.
And I think a blend's key.
I do. And I have been thinking recently, like, it's a huge puzzle, and you need all the pieces, but they have to work together, like, to complete the puzzle. And so we have, any form of marketing you can think of, we've done, or we are currently doing at some point, and they really just all work together. And you really hope that, like, that homeowner that saw that billboard will get fed the ad. Like, you don't know if that's the case, but, they see the TV commercial, but they help each marketing channel helps the other one out. Yeah. So it is.
It's that marketing mix we talked about in the funnel, and awareness and interest and consideration. And then when I am doing a renovation or I need something, and I'm like, what was that voice on the radio? Who was that guy? Right. Oh, it was Doug. Yeah. Yep. And then they think Mans, and then that's who they go and search for. Yep.
So walk us through the rebrand from a couple years ago. So my understanding, because I actually have a friend who's a contractor, and I knew of the name Mans as a supplier of lumber. Was that always the case, and then until recently, or did you just lean into we need to broadcast more that we serve the homeowner directly?
So Mans started, one thing that's cool is Mans has always been changing with the times and with what the market needs. So when it started, it was N.A. Mans and Sons, because Nicholas August started and he had sons that worked for him. Then it went to Mans Building Centers, and then it went to Mans Do It Centers because of all the hardware, and then it went to Mans Lumber and Millwork, and now we're at Mans Lumber and Home. So it really, like, through the different stages of the history, like whatever the homeowners or the builders
Yeah,
wanted,
we've always been heavily towards the contractor. So, Mans Lumber, like you hear lumber, you feel it's a builder yard, and you feel the contractor's going to come to the yard. And but we're much more than that. We really went when Home Depot and all these boxes showed up. We said we can't fight the pig in the mud. Let's be a niche. So we went to higher end projects and nice displays, and like what Dillman has here in Rochester, and we do it down in Canton. So we said, let's become more of a niche player. And so we couldn't just be lumber. We wanted to be millwork. But then we said, what is millwork? And so we said home. So really anything you want to improve in your home, we can help you with.
I think we wanted to be more inviting to the homeowner. Because we would always hear like, oh, we didn't know we could come in there. We thought it was just for builders, or like we thought it was just for the contractors. We didn't know as a homeowner we could walk in there. It was intimidating. So we thought that Mans Lumber and Home softened the name, and it shows we're for the builder and the homeowner. We're for anyone. Come on in.
And we changed the color. We were red. Now it's blue. And it's a friendlier, and the font's different. And we worked with a couple marketing people, and and we all had, it's funny because every family member had a little something to say about it. And change is tough. Change is difficult. But we all agreed that, we need to get the homeowner. But, Michigan's a mature market. We're not in the Southeast. It's going to grow by thousands of homes. And we know that we're going to go into people's homes that need to remodel, not build new. And what are we going to do for it? And that's just for the next 20 years. So Meghan and the fifth generation can have a successful business. So, I think we had the foresight to change it, and we've had great feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's get back to the Bullseyes a little bit. So the data for the two of you. So maybe talk through some of the things that the data was telling you that you had to listen to and maybe either double down on or move away from or change and evolve.
Yeah, what's really interesting about how the data works, and you were mentioning like keywords and this experience where, you were getting people who weren't quite the right fit. It was like the algorithm figured it out on its own.
Yeah.
So what Google's doing now is trying to figure out intent. So we don't have to guess at the keywords. We're not putting 1,000 different keywords into a campaign. You know your customer really well, and you did that research to figure out your branding and those types of things. So by telling Google who your customer is, or telling Facebook who your customer is, it can help you go and find more people who those customers. So it moves from this not search-based form of marketing, but an intent-based form of marketing, and to hit those consumers at the right times, depending on where they're at in their journey. If you're doing an awareness campaign, let's hit them with some awareness. That's at some lower cost. If they're in the middle of a remodel and they're looking for somebody, you're going to pay a little bit more, but Google knows, hey, they're in an intent purchase-based part, and that's that funnel we've talked about, and so then it's serving those campaigns at the right spot there. So it is a full-on marketing mix, and since putting this all together and being able to track it, I mean, I don't want to spoil it because we might have some competitors who are listening, but we've certainly, driven. We haven't changed costs at all.
Yeah,
That's one thing. We've stayed with the costs you were doing before,
Right.
but the leads have increased and improved.
Yeah.
We have visibility. We're making good decisions with where we're putting our money, and in somewhat of a tough economy, at least as far as it comes from home building right now, you guys are actually doing pretty well, right, Doug?
So we had our company meeting here in Rochester 2 nights ago and Canton last night, and we're up in cash sales. Our charge sales, builder sales, new starts are down probably 5 or 6%. But our cash sales are up 3 to 4%.
And that's often how we measure marketing.
For us, it's who we're pushing through the door on the retail
Because the
side.
builder are already established
That's just
relationships and those types of things.
And that's
So-
a rightful approach. We're one-on-one with those guys.
Right,
But,
so that's great.
So that's encouraging. All our retail, and I looked at retail, just retail, and it's up about 6%. So that's, and we look at marketing, it's totally because of marketing.
that wholesale side is dictated in large part by pipeline, right? I would imagine.
That's right.
So if people
Yeah.
aren't buying, then that part would be either static or going down. Was there a particular data point that, as somebody who wants to see the numbers, that you remember seeing something that was like, aha, we need to, this changes everything?
Well, I think just the data doesn't lie. That's what's really cool about performance-based marketing is you can see like I think the main thing was how our leads were increasing and our cost per lead was decreasing. We were not spending any more money, and our cash sales were going up. And so it's interesting because like we're a seasonal business, so if we have a rainy week, we're slow, like because the builders are not going to build in that rainy week. But the walk-in traffic is still strong on those. The phones calling in are still strong. Like yesterday it was 100 degrees, so people weren't really coming into the yard. But the phones, I saw more phone calls yesterday come in than I've seen in a long time. So people were still calling with interest, which is cool to see.
They were sitting in their air-conditioned cars.
thinking about what they needed.
Right.
And the phone is an old school method of communications, right?
Yeah.
Can we talk about what you discovered, the aha moment when you were looking at the data and we're advertising digitally, but the leads are coming in?
Right. So, when we're marketing a website, typically a business wants somebody to fill out a form, and that was the main measure of how you were tracking leads previously, were form submissions, both through Facebook as well as the website. And we said, I think the first thing we looked at with your website was you've got 7 locations, I think that we had on there. And from a mobile experience perspective, it was like 3 or 4 clicks to get to a phone number.
Yeah, it was.
And so the very first thing we did was put the phone numbers right in the menu. So that somebody hits the menu, they're listed right there, the location, the city, and the phone number right next to it. And I think we had a 75% increase in call volume as soon as we did that. And then from there, it's really just been tracking quality. And then the other thing that we're noticing here recently is the Google business profiles.
Yeah.
So
That was our
now,
most recent finding.
we noticed that people aren't going to the website and then calling the Google business profile. And I was showing you this actually earlier with Google's changed the search result page where the businesses, the local maps are more prominent than your organic listings. So that's what they're seeing. And they're given the opportunity to call in that map versus go to the website and then call. So Google's even reducing the number of clicks.
It was 70% of our calls were coming in through our Google page.
Correct,
and
3 times.
Yes.
From one location. We only tracked one of your locations.
Most people don't even make their way to the website. So increasing our Google page and optimizing it.
Yep, that's the new hack that we've been talking about, is treating your Google business profile like a social media, actually, posting things there. Because when people do the search result, they're looking maybe to call you or find a location. What's the first impression? Is it just a blank page. Or is it 125 years in business? Is it whatever? Here's the finer points of millwork, things like that. So
if we stay with phone calls, tell me a little about the story you were saying with the folks behind the phone who have been answering and how much fun they've been having, with the phone calls.
Our 2 receptionists, they obviously answer the phones and then transfer them over to who is calling, but then they are the ones that go through and determine if the lead is a qualified lead or not. And they are so into it. They enjoy listening because they go back and listen to all the calls in their free time. So they get really into it and they're like, oh, that person was so rude, or and so they love it. It's the highlight of their day. One of them said to me, can you put more money into this so we can get more calls?
But because of their engagement, it's better.
Yeah, and their engagement is what has really changed the game.
Yep, and you said this to me, Doug, back in almost a year ago. We had a meeting. You said, I want to get my salespeople more involved with the marketing. And I was immediately thought of this as one way to do it is to have them involved from giving us feedback. So we call this closed loop marketing, where sales gives marketing the feedback to let us know what's working and what's not. We're all in on the success together. And it can be sort of fun, in that process.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah,
very cool.
So here we are, 125 years. We got some fun things planned this year, right? What are we doing to celebrate?
She's been planning. I'm just signing the check.
I'm the party planner. Yeah. We're having a big anniversary party in September for all of our builders, vendors, past vendors, every employee, our old employees. retired builders, just people in the communities that have had an impact on Mans. So we'll have a big celebration in September. We're planting trees in our communities because we've cut down a lot of trees.
Not personally.
Yeah,
We
not
just
personally. We've sold a lot of trees. And then we'll be building duck boxes.
We're, we love the outdoors. So we're going to work with Ducks Unlimited of Michigan. We're going to build 125 wood duck boxes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. And we did that as kids at our farm in Canada. And because of that, we have this great flock of wood duck there every year. And it's just kind of, one of the things that we live to as a family, one of our things is leave it better than you found it. And so we want to plant trees. We want to create better nature. And we all love the outdoors. We're very, we've spent a lot of our time and passion in the outdoors. So it's important to us. So that's where we're going to put some of our time and focus.
Yep. And I've seen some of the before and after photos. You definitely leave it better than when you found it in people's homes as well.
And that's what's fun. Yeah, that's kind of, that's always been our philosophy. But you're right. It's what we do every day.
Right.
And, I was taught it in nature. Like if you go to the stream or if you go somewhere, look behind you. Is there garbage? Did you leave it better? And if we didn't, we'd get a little, kick in the rear end. So we were always trained that way. And it does fit into what we do every day.
And so that's sort of back to the generational story is that it's each one that, takes on the mantle has to be challenged with leaving it better than they got it. So here we are, you're fourth generation, right?
Yeah, fourth generation.
And at some point, I would imagine you're handing the baton to fifth generation.
He's never going to retire.
He might be forced to at some point.
But no, I will, you know what? It's my dad till he would, he passed a few years ago, but till the day
he was in the office
he
the
came
week
in the
before he
office
died.
and sat at his desk and said hi to the old customers. And that's one cool thing about, I have people come in from 30. You remember you helped me with that project 30 years ago, Doug? I'm like, I do remember it. That's awesome. We give each other a hug and it's the. I don't remember. I don't remember. I had for dinner last night. I'm getting old, for God's sakes. But no, that's the rewarding part of our business.
So I'll ask you both. So the next 125 weeks and the next 125 years, what do you hope to accomplish at Mans?
You go first. You probably thought of this.
Mine is just every day make a difference. I think if you take a day at a time, you just make a difference that day, help a customer, help an employee, make it better, whatever. We are our own worst. We critique ourselves a lot, and we've really, we've grown a ton in the fourth generation, and it's going to look different. We look different than we did 25 years ago. They're going to look a lot different, and maybe it's not exactly the same. But I think being part of the improvement of people's homes, my dad always said we're not in the lumber game, we're in the shelter. And everyone, you have, clothing, shelter, and food are kind of basics. So we're in the shelter business. And how can we help people make sure that they have a great shelter to live in or, work out of, whatever it may be. So I think that's where we're thinking. And I'm excited to pass on the baton. We've got good young kids coming up.
Yeah.
I think one thing you mentioned was the fourth generation has grown the business a lot. So in the next 125 weeks, I think one of my biggest struggles right now is we have Mans, we have Dillman and Upton, we have Legendary Millwork, we have Integrity Component and Design, we have Michigan Timber and Trust, and we have Curtis Builder Supply. So we have this huge family of brands, and these are companies we've acquired or that we've started. And so trying to find the best way to effectively market, I don't even know how many companies that is, bring them all together because it's
a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge because it's hard. You have to spend more money because you're trying to market different companies.
That's been a challenge.
That has been
our growth has been awesome, but probably in marketing, that's been a challenge.
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out.
And to make it even more complicated, Mans Lumber, he said, we changed our color to blue, but the builder side is still red. So Mans Lumber in itself has the red side and the blue side. So
I think there's going to be a follow-up episode here. Once you solve this puzzle, we're going to ask
call
you
me in 125 weeks.
The other cool thing we've really been able to do is help our customers with marketing. And I think that has been really, to me, once again, like, if our customers do well, we do well. Right. So if they win, we win. And that's always been, if they're losing, we lose, and we got to figure out how to help them win. So maybe go into that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say our customer, we're partners. Like, they're not our customers, we're partners. We want them to succeed. If they grow, we grow. So one thing we realized with a lot of these builders is they don't have me. They don't have a marketing person. And so they don't know how to spend their money, where to spend their money, if they should even market. Most of them just like put money because they want to be first on Google. Like that is all their dream. And so we've really partnered with them to figure out how to market their business, when they should spend money, where they should spend money, who they should go to. So Curtis, now you guys help some of our deck builders. So yeah, that has been really cool to partner with them. And we're in the relationship game. Like all of our, whether it's a homeowner or a builder, we want a relationship with them. We want to get to know them. We want to help them, their family. So it's really been fun to like, there's a new deck builder and he's young. He's close to my age, in his 20s, and we helped him with his marketing. He had to hire 2 new crews because his marketing helped his business grow so much. He needed 2 full new crews to help build decks, which he was like blown away because he started just old school. He was just going up to people's doors with a piece of decking in his business card and leaving it on their front porch. And he just needed a little more performance-based marketing.
And that's why I give you guys so much credit, because the construction trades just generally are kind of old school, right?
Yeah.
And so they never studied marketing. They probably don't have the budget for a marketing firm. But for you guys to embrace these new tools and these new methodologies, especially old school Doug over there saying, all right, I'm going to see, have some blind faith and trust. And you're showing that you get the results and it's all data-based.
Yeah, no, and we've done that in our business too. I give us, I'm the relationship guy, but I've got a cousin, Pete, who's our CIO, and he's done amazing technology. We've embraced technology. We have a warehouse management system. We have a delivery system. We track things. We know when we're on time, when we're not on time. We know if we're delivering in full, not in full. We're trying to make ourselves better so we then can be a better resource for the customer. So the lumber industry is really not heavy tech, but Mans Lumber is a leader in our field. Yeah. And so I'm proud of that.
And it shows. And that's kind of my just final takeaway is even industries that might consider themselves old school still need to adopt new methodologies.
Totally. Great.
And then just to go back to something you said earlier, Curtis, I don't know if you have a final thought on sort of coming full circle with old school, now new school, and then you said now we're starting to embrace some more old school, seemingly old school tactics. Even in the modern environment.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I'm excited about working with Mans on is more the storytelling, right? So this is part of that, right? So this 125-year-old business, these partnerships that they have, and there's a lot of good, successful stories in there that are with their partners and their builders, but also with the homeowners and those types of things. And really, those are just great stories to tell, and marketing is a great medium, to do that and really embrace the community and be part of that community, which you guys already are. It's just kind of those stories invite them in, to what you guys are building, which is really cool. And then you're investing in the homeowner as well. I mean, so you got Dillman and Upton and this whole new, tell us real quick about the new
beautiful
showroom.
millwork showroom. And because we've talked and we're like, hey, what is millwork? And you ask 10 people, you're going to get 10 different answers. So we have to say, what's millwork? And so you've got to really see it. And so they did a beautiful story model at Dillman Upton. And it's things that you want, you can touch and feel and see and give you ideas. And
it's just wow. Like
it
it's
is a
beautiful.
wow. It's beautiful.
You need to go stop in and see.
And you've got a great staff there that educates the customer and helps them understand their design style and what would fit and all those. And those could be big projects if you're doing a brand new home, but if you just want to spice up a bathroom or an office or a playroom for the kids.
And it's amazing. You can spend a couple $100s on some moldings in a room, and it makes it look like you put a $20,000 improvement in it.
Yeah.
And I think you've done that yourself.
Yep.
So,
well, my wife did.
Yeah. Speaking of writing the checks, who wrote the check? She wrote the check too. And that's in downtown Rochester?
Yes,
That's right.
it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Looking forward to see that. Speaking of great stories, the 125th entire story is on your website.
Yes.
What's the website address?
Manslumber.com.
Easy enough to remember. So thank you guys once again for being here.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
again
us.
to Oxium, the gold standard in IT, for being our gracious host today, and our studio audience. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. And thank everyone else for being here in the first ever, hopefully not the last ever live episode of Bullhorns and Bullseyes.